Woody's Corner, and I'm out here in the 2008 Monaco Dynasty. So, you know, if you saw what I talked about, I think I talked about it on probably the original video. Turn this around. But you know, when I first got this unit, somebody supposedly had stolen the deck, and I had to, like, well, the guy I bought it from actually had gotten a hold of a brand new one in a box, complete with the, you know, the DVD hideaway box that's mounted back there, which, you know, everything kind of goes to that, and then there's a cable and connector to the deck and everything. The power, but since it had been stolen, I mean, the wiring harness, all that was gone, and so I had to kind of figure out all the wiring, and I was able to make a plug for most of the power and get all that figured out. But anyway, long story short, I got the Aladdin system and all that, you know, working through that. But, you know, this is old technology, and I always upgrade to, like, a, you know, Kenwood Media Player with wireless Android Auto, and so that's what I'm going to do now that, you know, I got everything working and kind of back to the way it should have been. Now I can do the upgrade. So the plan is, I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and leave the hideaway box in there and keep the deck in case somebody, you know, in the future, if I ever sold this, in case, I guess, if anybody wanted to ever take it back to old technology, which I don't think would be the case. Or while I do it, I'll think about that. I may just pull it out and sell it. I think the only reason I was thinking about leaving it in there was there's a CD player mounted up here in that cabinet, right up there. And, you know, that has like a 13-pin cable that provides power to it actually up there. I would have thought it would have had its separate power for the CD player, but it doesn't. So that cable runs through this to another box and everything. And it looks like I'll lose the ability to still use the CD player. I was kind of hoping to salvage that, but now I don't actually see a way to do it. So I may just end up yanking that out of there. And of course there's some other boxes this stuff used, and I mean, none of that's going to be used going forward and doesn't need to be. It's just, you know, it's the old technology and multiple components, and gosh, you get way more power with what you can get in a media player today with everything. Now when first step was really to get the old Kenwood GPS out of here. You know, from working from behind, I could see there was these 4 little screws that were coming through these mounts on the sides. But actually, what looks like, if you knew this was there and had an Allen head, looks like you could unscrew that, and then that little black square thing would come off, and then you could pull the unit off this bracket straight out this way. What I did is I took this, I took the 4 little you know, bolts off the screws, and actually pushed the unit inward and got it out that way. Either way, but that was definitely something I wasn't sure what I was going to run into getting that out. Now, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to mount in here with the media player, because, you know, it doesn't have your typical rails that those things kind of catch, the little, you know, metal box. But, you know, I got this, and it's a 7-inch cutout, so it does go in there. I didn't have to squeeze that too hard to get it to fit. And what you do is you break away these top pieces, and then I'll have to cut. So, you know, I probably have, whatever, a 1/2-inch trim going around. So, you know, this will have the trim. And I guess what I'll have to figure out next is, does the radio somehow grab this like it does the metal, you know, box that comes with it normally? So I got to figure that out, like how I'm going to secure it in there. It may be simpler than I'm thinking here. And then once that trim piece is cut there, obviously there'll be a lot more space. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pull the deck out, and then I bought, you know, a plug for that. And I'm going to drill holes for, I bought 4 things. I thought, well, might as well have some fun with this. I'll have to just show you as we go what I got for that, but I already forgot. I bought it so long ago, and I'm finally just getting to this project. But anyway, just a couple little, you know, cool little accessories, I guess you could say. And then, you know, it ought to be pretty straightforward. I mean, I've already been through the harness. It's standard, and so that's what I'm going to do. So we'll poke around here and form a plan next. Enjoy. Well, here's all the equipment I pulled out. The original parts of the system. This was the CD changer. Everything still works, so I'll be putting it up for sale. This is the hideaway DVD box. that came with this new Kenwood deck. The screen folds out on that. That was like original equipment, but this was a new in box that I put in. That, and then this was the GPS monitor by Kenwood. It's just a flat monitor. And then they had these 3 boxes. You got the Sirius, Connect, and then the 2 Kenwood boxes that were really part of the UPS system. I mean GPS. So everything's here. It's interesting the way the CD changer kind of connected through, I think it was the Sirius box on the way over to the Hideaway deck. And it was interesting the way it was all put together for sure. And now I'll show you what I discovered and how I'm going to do the deck. Yeah, so it is interesting with the old equipment. When you think about it, I mean, all of that is what is in that media deck of today, which will fit in here. And it's just better. I mean, who needs a CD changer when you can just say, hey Google, play this, especially if you have a YouTube account for music like I do. And I mean, I don't need something like that. I can get any song I want at a command. And so yeah, I just kind of stuck this in, but that's the blank, and I'm gonna have, you know, like a USB-C. I've got it's like a digital thermostat thing, a mic, a better mic, and then another one, I forget what it is over here. I'll show you in a minute. And because this is a little bit higher, I will have to do some modification. I've got to take about a 1/4 of an inch off. I'm going to do it over here. So I'm going to Dremel that. I think I'll come up with a way to put an edge here so I can Dremel a nice straight line out of there. Got all my wires marked. And again, I learned a lot when I had put the other unit in from the stolen stuff. So now I understand, you know, all of what's here. And it actually freed up even some power that I'll use for these other devices. But all right, I'll take you over here. So this is the Kenwood Media Deck. This is an Exelon. Looking for the model here. Oh, it's the DMX958XR. I've typically used Kenwood in all my vehicles, but again, this is what's amazing is all of that old equipment in that box is, you know, the power of it is in here now. Now, because I was looking at, you know, I could have actually tried to put this in there, and with, you know, the way these work, you know, you can mount it, but the problem is, I'll show you. I'll go stick it in the hole, and because there's so much clearance around the top and the bottom, mainly this edge molding thing, you know, that would go in the front here, it's not going to cover, because if you see, I mean, it goes in the hole, and you know, for it to work, I would need it to have another at least 1/4 of an inch clearance to hide the hole. So, you know, what that means is I can't use this. At first I thought maybe I could center it in the middle and this would hide the edges, but it won't. It's not big enough. So I'm back to, you know, I'm going to use this. So I'm glad I bought this. So I've already taken off the top and the bottom. They had score marks. That was easy enough. This other one I'll have to I'll do a straight cut with one of my tools. But essentially what I'm going to do, you know, these have all the holes on the side, and then, you know, they provide mounting screws. So I've kind of looked at it, and, you know, essentially I'm going to I have to modify this also a little bit, and then, you know, you can tell it's got holes, and I'll be able to either drill my own for a perfect match to whatever, or use what's here. But I've got to there's a little edge right here, and then underneath there's it kind of is inset to this mount, but I've got to actually Dremel this out. I'm gonna go do that first. I'm gonna Dremel this out, and you can kind of see when if I just place this on here, you can kind of see it sitting on that edge. And so when I Dremel it out, it'll pass through there. And you know, I think it's going to be all right on the width. I noticed it tried to push it out just a little bit, but I think it's flexible enough, and it's just so little bit of push out that it was doing that it'll be fine. And then as long as I make the hole in the dash over there big enough. So I'm going to go Dremel this first and probably mount that, and then know what I'm dealing with on the width before I go Dremel the dash part, which is just going to be one cut on the left. The top and the bottom are plenty of clearance. And then, you know, then what I'm going to do is, you know, I'll center it, and then I'm going to drill 4 holes through this, and I'm just going to screw it into the dash, just like the screws that hold the dash to the dash. And you know, those 4 screws are going to be my main mount to hold this in place. And then if I ever need to take it out, I take the 4 screws out and pull this out. So that's my game plan. I think I'm on the right track. So for the blank for the other deck, like I say, I ordered a special microphone, because the ones that you typically get, well, they don't have like a way to mount, like with threads and a nut behind easily. Like the one that came with this deck. Let me just show you. I've run into this before. But yeah, if you just, you know, if you look at these, they're made with a clip. And, you know, the rest of the mic, there's really not a good way to mount it. Surface mount, like I want to do. So, like I said, I've run into that before. And I made it work somehow, but probably used some glue. But this has got the nut. It's threaded. And then I've got, this is the cool thing, it's a digital thermostat, so I'll be able to run a wire and see the outside temperature and the inside. And that's one of those things that we don't have here on the Monaco dash anywhere. And as a driver, it's kind of nice to know that. And then this one will be for USB-C and USB-A charging. And I think it lights up, or yeah, I think it's got a readout in the middle too. And this one is just a standard USB-C. So I'll have those 4 things in the plate, which kind of looks like that, but it's plastic, so it'll be easier to drill through. This one will be the harder one because it's not circular. I do have the proper drill sizes for these big ones, though. So that's it, coming together. All right, it's coming together. I actually have just set the unit in there with the, you know, with the cap trim, I guess, the trim piece, and it looks like it covers all the holes. And what I ended up using, I have it's like a Dremel saw. It's like a mini table saw. I forget who it's by, but anyway, it's like a little scroll saw almost. And so I was able to trim that piece out of there. And of course, this plastic melts. I've run into this before, and so that can be a little messy. But anyway, I did the best I could and kind of sanded it down. I think I'm gonna hit it with a little flat black paint just to kind of clean up, you know, this part. You know, I've got some holes lined up. So this, actually, I think I'm gonna go ahead and stick some of the flat head screws in here, and then that'll give me a final measurement of just how wide the cavity needs to be, because I got to Dremel that out. Hopefully that won't be as much of an issue. And it's really just the one side. So hey, I'm pretty excited about the way this is looking. Went ahead and cut the edges here too. I think it's going to be plenty, you know, to, like I say, have 4 screws to hold this on. I may end up putting one up here and one down here just to, why not? Anyway, cool. So I ended up, they supplied like round head, and then they had these flat head. I was thinking the flat head just because I wanted to have less clearance. These don't stick up too much more though. But these flat heads weren't long enough. These are just a little longer, so I was able to actually get a bite on this stuff. So I ended up using 3 on each side, and it's sturdy. Yeah, it's looking good. it's really all about just opening, dremeling that opening on the one side just a little bit more, so that this goes in with the clearance of these screws. And like I say, I'm going to just drill holes and mount it with screws into the dash. That's the plan. It's going to be pretty cool. Alright, well, this is the last fabrication. Basically got to get another ½ inch or more here to get 7.5 inches on the width. Everything else, top to bottom, is fine. So I'm going to attempt to use a Dremel cutter wheel, and we'll see what happens next. Oh yeah, it's going to work great. Got that hole cut open, and it was a little messy. You can see all the grindings from the dash flew everywhere, up on the seat, all over the dash, so, and on the floor here. But the Dremel tool, I just used a nice cutting disc here. It worked good. I taped it off with some blue tape, and you know, I got to clean that up just a little bit and get the. I put a little piece of actually the plastic that I cut off from the edge of this this mount. I just blue taped that and gave me a nice straight edge, and then I just ran the disc all along there to make the cut nice and straight. But that's how you do it. I mean, it's coming out exactly as I had envisioned, and I hope this video is helpful for others who may take this on. I'm sure it's a popular thing to do. I have done this in all my rigs, cars, trucks, the other RVs, and they're all a little different. This one required a different mount. Like I say, I'm gonna end up drilling some holes. I'll probably do two. I'll probably do maybe one in the middle here, probably two on the side, and just drill it, screw it in the dash, basically like they're doing with these little screws here to hold the dash plate on. I'm pretty excited about it. Alright, I got the harness all soldered up. So basically got speakers, power, ground, and then the all-important parking brake also tied into the ground, so that should work with this unit. Typically just a simple ground out for video. I'm using what was here from the prior deck. It's got a fuse. This will be the video from the Aladdin system, and then the only other couple of cables, we've got the antenna, and then this was on the last deck, but it's actually a audio in from if you follow the wire, it's the auxiliary entertainment input right there on this dash. So I'll go ahead and run that into the back as well. And then the only other things will be when I mount the accessories here in the plug, I'll have the mic, and then there's a USB-C jack that'll go into the back of the unit as well. So I'll have to do those next, get that all set up. Coming along. Well, and this is what it's gonna look like. I've just got it set in there. I got a couple other things I'll have to do before I button it up, but like I said, to secure it, I'm gonna drill 2 holes on each side, and I may do one on the top and the bottom here too. But so yeah, it already powered up here, and I can actually do some configuring and test the audio and the speakers. But look at that. It's gonna look slick. And then I've got 4 components to drill out and mount, including the mic, the temp thing, the charging jack thing with the readout, and then the USB-C that'll plug into this as well as the mic. So just about there. And then actually on the audio, see here on this input thing, there was actually just a 3.5 millimeter input, so I bought a splitter. Heck, I probably have one down in the box of 1,000 cables, but I just ordered one of those off Amazon and get a splitter, and that'll go into the back here as well. I'll get that on Wednesday. It's Monday, so there you go. Well, we've got it definitely powered up. I got some wireless Android Auto connection already started here, and I don't have, like I say, the mic and a couple of the other things set up just yet, but yeah, it looks great, it sounds great. And let's see, put on a little music here. The wireless aspects, the hands-free safety, you know, when you're driving a big rig, is so important to have this. And oh, here we go, a little bit of Foreigner. Let's give this a speaker test. I'm gonna crank it all the way up. Oh, actually I was playing with the audio adjustments, and on the last song it sounded great, but this one has a little bit more bass and it's actually distorting, so I guess I'm gonna have to turn some of that down. But anyway, real excited about the way this is coming together. Okay, so tonight is working on this plug plate that goes in that other hole, and I got 4 devices. I think I showed them already, but this is the one that actually will be the temperature inside and out. And you know, it was hard to find something that was like for general use. Most of these that you find, you know, are fitment for a certain vehicle, so they have, you know, some extra stuff. I had to Dremel some of the stuff off and just, you know, and I'm gluing it. This is some Gorilla Glue on the back here. I was just kind of weighting it down. You see it sticks out a little there. But you know, and then I'll probably get some black caulk and lightly go around the outside edge just to kind of clean that look up. But basically the microphone, it's got a small hole over here for the mic, and then these 2 bigger round holes are for the charger and the USB. And you know, there's a special drill here that is made for that size, for basically those big USB round things. So not sure if that says 28 millimeter, maybe. Looks like it on the print out there. But anyway, that's something you'd really like to have for a project like that. Otherwise, I just used a Dremel, just a small round, you know, cutting disc, and I Dremeled, you know, the square cut here, and then I Dremeled some stuff off here to have a flange. So, you know, a little fabrication made that work, and coming together. I guess I might have to let this sit overnight, and then tomorrow can start working on, you know, wiring some stuff up here. All right, making some progress on the radio project here. Let me turn this around. All right, so, you know, yesterday I was drilling out all the holes. This is going to be for the microphone, and then the 2 USB round dealy bobs back here. And then this was the inside-outside temperature module. And so, you know, that was the trickier one, because I had drill, you know, drills that are made for these hole cutouts for the other devices, but this one I had to kind of Dremel. And then I had to kind of customize the back of this, make a little flange. I glued that, and I just ran some little bit of black caulk to seal the rough edges. And overall, I'm happy with the way this turned out. And I should have tested this. I was reading a review on where I bought it on Amazon, and there was only one review, but it said when they powered it up that some of the LED lights didn't light up. So hopefully I don't have you know, an issue with it. And then I was kind of curious about how these wires, you know, this shorter one's going to be for the inside temp. This will be, I'll have to run it somewhere out the front there, I guess, to get some outside temp. I know the generator's out there generating some heat, so I'll have to see what I can come up with. But I guess there's a little nub on the end of the wire, and I think technically that's the actual real sensor on the end. At first I wasn't exactly sure how those were going to work, but so tonight I'm getting ready to just start putting some stuff in here, and got to plug the GPS in the back of the Kenwood deck, probably mount it to this and stick that back in there under the dash. So that's the phase I'm in tonight. And that's the plug. You got the USB-C that plugs into the media player. This has got a charger with a readout for voltage. You can power it on and off with the switch. It can handle a 65 watt like a laptop here. USB-C and then USB-A. The temperature in and out. And then this microphone, the reason I got this one, like I mentioned, was it's got the threaded back. And I'll put links to where I got all this stuff. That was actually a hard one to find. It was at a surveillance place, but much easier to mount than the microphone that comes with the media player. But you can kind of see, pretty straightforward. I tried to get everything lined up spacing wise, but I think that'll work just fine. So getting there. Well, and that's what it's going to look like. I've got to drill some holes and mount the deck, but the plug plugged in nicely. We've got a pretty accurate reading on the outside temperature. I ended up running the outside wire back behind some hoses back here. I pulled the slide out on the generator, and I could see a piece of wood up near those hoses, and just drilled a small hole and stuck it down and ran it over to the driver's side, and you know, through all of the wiring harnesses, and just dropped it down where it's kind of hanging down there. It could pick up some heat from the generator, but when you're driving, there is a lot of airflow down there, so should work good. And the internal temperature seems to be about right. It's just hanging down a little bit below here. And so let's see what else. I'll turn this on real quick. I've actually got, there was, you know, some other things that freed up for power when I pulled the GPS and all the old stereo equipment out. And I used red wires for these. I thought red wire was ignition, so I thought the ignition would have to be on for these to be on. So it looks like this one will always be on. This one does have a switch, so you can power this off, so you know the power isn't showing the readout there. Here we go. We got some radio. Actually, this is on the YouTube music coming off my phone right here. And I got the navigation. The only thing I noticed, I got to research it, was when you're in video mode. Actually, and I put it on camera. The Aladdin system, when I turn it on, is scrolling just like it is here. So I got to figure out what something's causing this to scroll right here. I'm sure there's something I can turn off, but that's the idea. Is I've got it on the cam button, and when the Aladdin system's on, which I could turn it on here. And you know what you would do is just scroll up, hit the camera select, and of course these rotate to side, to rear, to front. And when you are in reverse, it does stay on reverse. So nice thing about that is you can simply hit the cam button to go back, and it's always there. And you know, that would be the Aladdin system. So let's see. We'll power the Aladdin system down here. Pretty cool. So that's like I say, I'll put all the devices that I installed, I'll put those in the description. Enjoy. I'll do a final video after I screw it in and just kind of finish it up, make sure all that worked fine too. Well, got it all mounted. Looks real good. I like the way it came out. I actually ended up only using 2 screws. I just put one here and one here, and you know, it leveled it out really nice on the mount. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to put any more holes than I have to, so it's nice and tight with just the 2. That's awesome. But having some little tweaking things. You know, I had the audio video working on when I hit the camera button, and I think I did reinitialize the deck because I was having some trouble getting something to work, and now it doesn't show the audio video when I'm doing the setup here for the camera. Before, I would have the audio video, you know, showed, and now oh, wait a minute. Well, that's weird. For like 15 minutes now I've been playing with this, and it was like not showing there, and now it is. So I'll just use the front setting here, and let's back out of that. That's weird. I mean, all of a sudden it's showing up. So now when I hit the camera button, I got to go to front because that was what it was on. Now so that's good. That's working again. Some temporary reason there it wasn't. The scrolling I haven't figured out. I thought I saw something about text scrolling on these Kenwood decks, but I haven't been able to find anything specific to this deck to turn it off. So I mean, it kind of made sense that it was detecting this text maybe, and it was scrolling because it thought it needed to. It's kind of more annoying than anything. I mean, you can still work with it. I mean, over here on the Aladdin joystick, I can go up here and get to the camera, which is kind of what I wanted. And then I'm noticing the quality of the cameras on this rig. They're not real good, so it's starting to get dark, and those outside ones are okay, but see, they're not real high quality. And then see, that's the internal one, not bad. But the rear one coming up here next is really bad. With this kind of lighting outside. So I don't know if that's a future project, you know, to upgrade to a higher quality camera in the mirrors and then the backup camera, but maybe. So let's see, I'm going to back out of this and power down the Aladdin now that that's being recognized. That's good. Go back here. The other issue I'm having, and I don't know if it's the... got a friendly neighborhood cat on top of the car out here. I don't know if this mic is working because if I have the phone far away from the deck and I say, okay, Google, it doesn't register, but if I have the phone close by, it does. And then, of course, I've wired it up with the USB cable, and that didn't seem to help. But it's as if this microphone is not picking up. Well, it's weird because if I say okay, well, that was the test. If I have the phone nearby and I say okay Google, it picks it up, but then it doesn't respond to the command, which tells me the microphone's not working. And then if I put the phone far away and then I talk to the mic, it doesn't work at all. So I think the phone was picking up the command, but then the command it's looking for after okay Google, you know, should be coming through this mic here, and it's like it doesn't pick it up. So that's the only issue, which is a big issue. I mean, if I don't know why the mic wouldn't work. So I'm gonna open up this tomorrow. I'm not gonna do it tonight, and just make sure that the cable didn't like pull out when I was pushing everything back in. I mean, that could have happened, I guess. Could be something simple. That's sometimes the way it works. But I'll hold off from publishing this video until I get this thing working all right. But the mic and that hands-free communication is obviously what this is all about. So it's really important to get that working. Worst case, I mean, I can test with the mic that came with it and just kind of rule out mics. But anyway, I'm sure I'll figure it out. Looks pretty cool. All right, so I have made a few modifications since the video last night. So first of all, the mic. So it turned out that special mic that I ordered, which apparently works with surveillance equipment, is what they call an electret mic, and it has a microphone signal versus line signal. And anyway, the deck didn't like it, so I put immediately this mic that came with the deck in, and it worked right away. So, you know, now I can have hands-free where I can talk to the deck. So the way I did this is a 1/2-inch hole I drilled out and then pushed the mic in backwards through the hole this way, and then behind it, it was a snug fit actually, but I just ran some of my Gorilla Glue behind it, and that's what's holding it to the back of the plug here. So that fixed that. That was a key thing, because obviously the whole point of this upgrade is to have that hands-free-ness. Now, when it comes to I'm going to turn the Aladdin system on. I experimented with the different camera inputs. I'm using an audio-video input, and either way, you can press this camera button and immediately get to the video input. But you see how it's scrolling. So I think I'll check the Monaco site tonight and just see if anybody else has had this issue with these media players, you know, where the Aladdin system scrolls. I can't find anything to have it not scroll. I thought I read somewhere about a Kenwood deck where there was something called text scrolling with the video, and I could see where maybe it recognized the text and thought it needed to scroll, but I can't see anywhere to turn it off. So so that's I mean, I could live with it, but it just seems like a thing I shouldn't have to deal with. But even though it's scrolling, I mean, if I wanted to, like, you know, use the toggle over here and go up here to the camera select and then turn it on. Of course, I got the sun at the back of the RV. One thing I've noticed is these cameras aren't super high quality to me. So I don't know if there's a way to, I'm sure there's a way to upgrade them. But, because I'm assuming these are the cameras from 08. There I am. Hello. So then you back out of that, hit the camera button, and you can go back to Android Auto setup. And there's obviously other features. I mean, radio and different stuff, and all that. But anyway, that's the complete setup. I'm gonna wrap this video up and call it done. And I do hope this has been helpful for anybody in any kind of an RV doing this kind of an upgrade. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, there was some fabrication and just creativity, obviously, to make that fit in there, but that's how I did it. Enjoy.